Welcome back to another video where we're going to be discussing butterfly latches. What is a butterfly latch? Why would you want one? And we'll show you kind of what they're about and what they do. Normally, on a normal 4-foot chain link gate, you'd see something like this with a collar and a fork latch. And these work great for yard gates. You have to lift up the latch to then latch it to the latch post. With the butterfly latch, you don't have to do that. In fact, I'll demonstrate it for you now. So as you can see by the demonstration there, the butterfly latch self-closes when you swing it in the closed position. And they're really handy for particular applications. Now, this particular demonstration that we have set up for you guys, we're just using regular male and female hinges. Typically, when we install butterfly latches, we're using some sort of a self-closing device, whether that's self-closing hinges or adding some sort of a shotgun closer or the TB175 or some sort of a hydraulic gate closer. So let's say you already have a gate in your yard that has normal males and female hinges. All you would really need to do to make a self-closing, self-latching gate is to buy a butterfly latch. And then if you didn't want to change out the hinges, you could install something like this Nationwide Industries shotgun closer or a TB175, or there's a couple of other ways to create a gate that closes with just using the males and females. Let me tell you what I would do if we were building new and starting fresh. I have a perfect combo that I think goes very well together. This is the Nationwide Industries chain link self-closing hinge. What this is a hinge that replaces the males and females, and it's also a closer all wrapped up in one nice neat package. So you don't have the need to have hinges and a separate hydraulic gate closer. Sometimes some people might find those ugly, and it definitely stands out on a chain link fence. You notice it. With these, you get the self-closing, and it's really not that noticeable. It just looks better in my opinion. So this would be a really great combo for a chain link fence that you have in your yard or business or wherever, and you need it to self-close and self-latch. It would be the self-closing hinges from Nationwide Industry. Now we're going to do a quick demonstration of how to put these on, how to adjust them, and how they work. So here we are standing at the exact same demonstration as before, and we have the Nationwide self-closing hinges. A couple of things about these. Number one is the spacing. That's important, especially if you have a pre-existing gate that you're trying to swap this out for. Normally, the male and female hinges are roughly 2 inches. Now, we have some from different manufacturers. Some of them are 1.5 inches space in between the gate post and the frame. Some are 2 inches. It just depends on where you get them. This particular setup is meant in the sweet spot for 2 3/4 inch. Can you put this on an existing gate and have it fit? The short answer is yes. And the long answer would be you might need to adjust it a little bit. By cocking the hinge out a little bit, you can make up for that 3/4 inch that you would normally find on a male and female hinge, which makes it a pretty good and safe bet if you want to use these in a pre-existing line that already has a gate. So that's one important thing to keep in mind. Next, we'll talk about the actual mechanism that gets these things to self-close. It's pretty much 2 pieces. We have the gate post piece and then the gate frame piece, and they're held together by a long rod that has several bushings and a tensioning spring inside them, and they come with a little bit of tension already put in them. And this makes it really handy because let's say you have a gate that needs to hinge on the left and close on the right. You can then orient these in the correct position, where if it was the reverse way, you could just flip them around and still have that same tension. So they're pretty versatile, and you can be used on either side depending upon how you orient the hinge onto the setup. So that's pretty much the ins and outs of this Nationwide Industries self-closing chain link mechanism. That's a mouthful. Now let's quickly show you how we would go about installing said hinge onto our gate. So as you can see, this setup is pretty easy, and you can attach the hinge to the gate first if you want to. You can also just attach it to the post first and then mount your gate here. Really, any which way is going to be fine. There really isn't a correct way. It's whatever you feel comfortable doing. Another thing that I forgot to mention too is that these particular self-closing gate hinges they're adaptive, so they can fit on a 2.5 inch post, and they can also fit on a 3-inch gate post. The other cool thing about them is that on the gate side, they will fit a small yard gate made out of 1.3" round, and they'll also fit a more industrial or commercial gate made out of 1.5/8" tubing. So now that we have the hinge connected to the post, we're ready to lift this gate up and get it into position to put on our bolts for the frame of the gate. To do that, just use a couple of little blocks that I have laying around here in the shop to help hold the gate up off the ground while we get the bolts on there. It's a good little tip if you're doing this by yourself and don't have somebody to help you hold the gate up. This would be a good option. So now that we have both sets of hinges installed, you can see that the gate is in the open position and there's no tension added yet. So to do that, Nationwide has made it pretty convenient. They send you an Allen key, which is a set screw, and you're going to use that to undo the set screw that holds the bolt into place. And once you have it loosened up, you can take a 3/4 inch wrench. You can put it on the top of the hex head here and apply pressure. And you'll notice as I'm applying pressure, it's actually closing the gate. And that's a good indication that we're adding tension to the spring. So we're going to take a second to get this adjusted so that we can demonstrate the two working together. And you can pretty much add as much tension as you need. You can get it to close pretty quick, or you can lessen it some if you have maybe kids or older people, or you just don't want it to close fast. That's also an option. So now that we have the hinges put on to our gate post and gate frame, and we've shown you how to install them and add the tension, the only thing left to do is give it a test. So there you go. Let us know in the comments down below what you'd like to see next on one of our videos, and we'll catch you next week.